is a football podcast, man. Meat, football, good. Man, we talk football. We eat burgers.
Welcome back to the Fantasy Brothers podcast. It's Josh, it's Ben, and it is week 5. I got it right this time.
Good job. I'm proud of you.
I have made it. I feel like that was the worst way to start an episode last time. Not even knowing where we are,
2 weeks
what we're
into
doing.
the future.
Yeah, you know, it
hate to
happens.
see it.
It happens. It's part of life, I guess. I don't know. We've got some news. We got starts of the week here on this episode of the podcast. Really quickly before we hop into it, we appreciate all the support on the podcast, on Instagram, wherever you have been consuming the stuff we have been putting out. We greatly appreciate it. If you enjoy the episode, though, one thing you can do to help us out a ton, leave us a rating and review wherever you're listening, and you can check us out wherever you do social media. We are the Fantasy Brothers.
There you go.
There you go. All right. How's your week been? How's life?
It's going.
Yeah?
Kinda
Just trucking
going.
along?
I'm just trying to get to another Sunday.
Another
That's all
Sunday,
I'm doing
yeah.
at this point.
I am feeling signs of hope because we call it the Mully Boys League, the OG league, the league that we care the most about. I'm finally having some success. Number, 2 in points, I think, in that league right now. Sitting nice at 4-0. I haven't felt this before. I don't know what to do with myself.
I've felt it before, multiple seasons in a row, only to lose in the playoffs. So don't get comfortable.
I'm just hoping, it's the league where I happened to have Puka Nacua and Devon A-Chain on the bench, and I sort of sold the farm to win this year on top of that. So the roster is looking pretty good, and it's honestly the first time in a few years with this team specifically where it feels like guys can get hurt and I can put somebody in the lineup that's actually good, not just oh no, I have to play, I don't know, who's been that guy? Rashad Bateman or Terry McLaurin, but when he had Taylor Heineke at quarterback, to where it's oh gross, I don't really want to play him, but you have to.
Mine is the opposite. It's been a super team for years. Have not been able to come up with a championship. I feel the window closing. Some guys have underperformed this year. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Jahmyr Gibbs has not been what I was hoping for when I traded for him. I feel it slipping. We're not out of the woods yet. I mean, Josh Allen is on the team. He's balling. Justin Jefferson's on the team. He's balling. But I'm also an injury away from having to put Zach Charbonnet in the lineup. So,
yikes! Yikes! Yeah, that doesn't make you feel great, but at the same time, you do have. No, you don't.
Some
have
of the
Cooper Kupp
elite
in that
of
league.
the elite are on the
You
team.
do, yeah. I mean, you've got. It's unfortunate when you have heavily invested in Cincinnati Bengals in basically every league you care about. And so the byproduct of that is now that Joe Burrow and company have sort of crapped the bed the first couple weeks, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins as a result, they're not doing super hot, and you're sweating a little bit.
A little bit. Now, Chase, I'm not really worried about Chase. I think he's fine.
He's been fine.
His target share is unbelievable, and his talent's unbelievable. So, I mean, he's had, quote-unquote, 3 out of 4 bad weeks, and he's still scoring, 10 points, 11 points a week. That's just how good Jamar Chase is. So, he hasn't had a touchdown yet either, so I'm not really panicking there.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson is the beating heart of that team. He
honestly,
is absolutely carrying it.
You are rolling Josh Allen and Justin Jefferson and hoping you get 60 points from those two every week, and it's just enough.
And they've done it the past 2 weeks, so.
They have been doing it. I can't wait for Cooper Kupp to return.
In our other main dynasty league, I've got Taylor and Kupp sitting on the PUP, just ready to insert them back into the lineup and
you
just
feel like
juice the crap out of that team.
You're doing a shot of testosterone. You're okay, it's ready to go.
Yeah, the team hasn't looked good either. Joe Burrow is one of the quarterbacks we got. The team has been struggling, but it has somehow managed to get to 3-1 in 4 close weeks every single week.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're about to add Kupp and Taylor feels really good.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of Kupp and Taylor, we might as well talk about it.
Yeah.
They Jonathan Taylor practiced fully on Thursday. Cooper Kupp practiced fully on Thursday. Cooper Kupp, I'm not have you seen it confirmed that he's going to play Sunday, or
I
is it just like he might play Sunday? We just
I
don't know
haven't
yet.
seen anything to confirming it. I've seen a lot of like mainstream guys on Twitter. They report, he's practicing fully. So he's at least right now they're saying he's on track to play Sunday. It's not confirmed that he will, but everything is lining up so that he should play Sunday. Not
Yeah.
guaranteed, but very, very possible he's going to play
So,
Sunday. Same as Taylor. He's practicing fully. I listened to his interviews. He seems committed and willing to play for the Colts this year. I doubt it's anything past this year, but it
I mean,
looks
he
like
has
he's going to
to.
play.
He's got to, because if he doesn't play and they put him or they shut him down, this season doesn't count towards his contract. So then he cannot go get a long-term deal at the end of the season. He'll still be on the last year of his rookie deal. So yeah, I would imagine he's going to play. I guess so. The way the PUP works is there's a 21-day window where you can be activated, and then you can practice for 3 weeks and not play, not be made active. But then if you don't end up playing after that 21-day window, then you get shut down for the rest of the season. So it's still very possible that Cooper Kupp and Jonathan Taylor, now that they're activated off of PUP, but they still could practice for like 2 more weeks and not play before they end up showing up on Sundays. I don't really know, and I feel like they're both sort of game time decisions because I haven't seen anything definitive either which way about them.
Yeah, so like I said, no guarantee that either one of them plays, but the fact that they have both logged full practices back-to-back days puts them very on track to play this Sunday.
Right. So with Jonathan Taylor, I feel like it's pretty cut and dry, right? If he plays, I think you lock him in as a top 12 running back, especially the way Zach Moss has played, right? I mean, Zach Moss
Looks great.
yeah, he's been fine, a top 15 running back, and you put Jonathan Taylor in there, and he's going to be 10x. Plus, that offense honestly has looked a lot more functional than I thought it would with Anthony Richardson, at least early. So Taylor, you lock him in. With Cooper Kupp, you've got Puka Nacua, who has basically been Cooper Kupp for the Rams without Cooper Kupp, and Tutu Atwell has been really, really great as well. So with Kupp coming back, assuming he plays Sunday, I know we've talked about it ad nauseum with the Puka Nacua side of this, but with the Cooper Kupp side of this, what are you doing? Or like, do you downgrade Cooper Kupp at all because Puka Nacua is there and has been super great? Or do you just?
I don't think I am. I drafted him at top 5 in drafts. I'm putting him in the lineup with full confidence. I mean, maybe Kupp does a little bit. I don't know. Or Nakua affects it a little bit. I don't know. He's got instant chemistry with Stafford. I think this Sunday's a high scoring game. It's against the Eagles. And we'll talk about that a little bit later with some starts of this week. I mean, if he's playing, I honestly don't think I'm benching Nakua either. I know we talked about it yesterday. I would still put him. I'm lowering him a lot. I'm putting him as like a flex play, but I think you're going to see some scoring in this. I'm firing Kupp as a top 5 receiver.
Yeah, I probably would too. I think I'd probably have Kupp as a top 5 receiver, and I'd probably have Nakua inside my top 15. And that's just, I feel like it's a pretty conservative, you put Puka like 12 to 15-ish, you put Kupp at like 5, and then I feel like that's like a nice safe start, and then we just sort of see what happens Sunday and move on from there.
Yeah, you're probably higher on Nakua than I am. I don't know if with Kupp playing, I've got him in my top 15, but
he's second. He's second in the NFL in receiving yards. Like, he's not just going to go away. I guess
I'm not saying he's going to go away, but it's the same. It's the T. Higgins situation. Again, you're adding a dominant alpha back to the situation, so he's not going to go away. But
also,
there's going to be a whole lot more fluidity with the situation.
Let's be honest how we feel about T. Higgins, though. If Joe Burrow is like usual, T. Higgins is inside your top 15.
That's fair.
T. Higgins is your wide receiver 12, assuming Joe Burrow is like normal. Obviously, with the offense being horrendous right now, he's not in your top 15. But he's probably not. I don't even know if you're starting him. because their offense has been that bad. But if things are normal, T. Higgins is locked in your top 15.
That's fair. I also do think T. Higgins is better than Puka Nacua.
Yeah, I still don't know what, dude. I don't know what to do with him because he's been so wildly productive that it's just like at a certain point you
I don't know
almost
if it's
have to like turn your brain off and deal with it. Maybe, but like everything in my head says this guy should not be this good this fast, and I think to a certain extent I almost have to turn the like rational part of my brain off and just say, you know what, he's producing at a ridiculous clip. Just sort of trust your eyeballs and trust the stats and say, okay, he's really good, and I guess just buy into it and just see what happens. I don't know.
I'd still flex him.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a solid flex. I truly cannot remember the last time a wide receiver, and to a lesser extent, Nico Collins too, at the beginning of the season, like came out, was a nothing, and then is now like a top 10 receiver. Crazy. It's what competent quarterback play will do for you. But like, I can't remember a year where two receivers that were nothing, I mean, literally not drafted, are top 10 every week plays. I can't remember.
This has been crazy.
It's been wild. It's been really wild. Speaking of crazy years, Kevin O'Connell apparently is going to give Cam Akers more work over the next couple of weeks.
To be fair, that is exactly what what's his name, this Rams coach, said he would do in the offseason.
Sean McVay was like, we're going to build an offense around Cam Akers. Psych!
Cam Akers is the centerpiece, not Cooper Kupp. It is Cam Akers' offense.
Yes, those were words that came out of his mouth. And then what happened in week 1? Oh, it was the Kyron Williams show.
Then the healthy scratch, and then trade it.
I'll believe it when I see it, Kevin O'Connell. To be fair, it's, again, I'm not saying we should buy into Cam Akers. Don't hear what I'm not saying.
No. Do not start Cam Akers.
No.
Don't do it.
Do not hear what I'm not saying. But here's what I am saying. He was pretty efficient in his first week with Minnesota. That's all I'm saying. I don't do with that what you will, but he was efficient.
I mean, I got Cam Akers for cheap in a few places. So, I mean, I would love to see him do well because I got him for next to nothing.
You know, we have been talking about Cam Akers' name has come out of our mouths enough that at this point it's like, I just want to see him, like every squirrel finds an acorn, you know? I just need Cam Akers to find his acorn. It just feels like it's time, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, he had 8 yards a carry on Sunday. He had 5 carries, 40 yards. I don't know. Do with that information what you will.
We'll find out Sunday.
Yeah, we will, because he's going to go out and he's going to do nothing because that is the Cam Akers experience.
Yep.
The Panthers are looking to trade for a wide receiver one.
I
Makes
hope
sense.
so.
I have seen many names dropped. T. Higgins, but the one that I have seen more than others, and the one that seems actually the most reasonable, is Marquise Brown. Just fitting in what they need. They don't have any field stretching whatsoever, and their offensive line has not done a great job, I guess, creating the run. It's not been terrible, but it hasn't been great, and they have not done a super job protecting Bryce Young in the pass game either. So they need a legit target hog. They also need a guy who can go down the field because Adam Thielen, he's a slot guy. DJ
Thielen's
Shark
actually been decent this year.
He has been, but it's targets. He's just getting a lot of targets, and he's their guy in the red zone, which makes sense because honestly, like Terrace Marshall, I mean, he's DJ Chark is
Terrace Marshall's over. Like he's not. If he hadn't done anything to this point, he's not going to.
Right. I mean, he has been targeted, and he has shown flashes here and there, but is absolutely nothing consistent. Jonathan Mingo hasn't done jack diddly. It's also not saying much.
Now, I think.
Oh, great. Rookie receivers this year, it's the curse. Outside of like Puka and Zay Flowers, none of them are doing anything.
Is it too much to ask? Side tangent. For JSN to get anything, is that too much for me to ask?
I'll tell you what I said in a text to you was I think it was the Seahawks. Both of their starting offensive tackles are hurt, and I mean, obviously, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are incredible. So we know that, but the other part that's not helping JSN out is their tackles are hurt, and they're just like running 2 wide receiver sets on every play now. They're going heavy tight end, 2 wide receivers, and it just means that JSN's kind of the odd man out.
Oh, no, I agree with you. Believe every word of it. And also the running game is clicking, so...
Yeah.
I mean, Kenneth Walker's doing great. I'm just still upset about it.
It's
I bought
brutal.
into a lot of JSN and have gotten 0 return thus far.
Can you drop him in redraft leagues right now, or should you hold on?
Depending on how deep it is, you can drop him. I would try to hold if you can, but if you can't and you have a need, I think it's okay to drop him.
It's so brutal because the whole game with rookie wide receivers is that you want to hold on for like the back end of the season.
Yeah.
Historically, rookie receivers are not great the first month, even the first 2 months.
He will catch fire at some point this season.
Maybe.
I hope. I think he's that talented.
I do think he's that talented, but also at a certain point, like JSN right now, is he better as an NFL player than Tyler Lockett? I don't know. Is he a better player? Honestly, DK Metcalf has looked really good to start the season. He hasn't dominated in terms of stats, but I mean he's been their alpha, and Tyler Lockett's been getting his too. So I don't know. It's a tough situation if you love JSN, because I get it. I mean he's incredible.
It'll have to be something like they start losing, because right now they're winning, so they're not going to change the formula until it's not working anymore. So
right,
they will have to start losing some games or something.
You hate to say it, but
Also,
you're almost hoping for an injury.
If you see my eyes wandering, I'm watching the Bears-Commanders game right now. DJ Moore.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Well, DJ Moore just had like a 70-yard reception.
Oh, wow. Good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of, the Panthers and wide receivers.
You had one.
You had one. It's so funny because I saw a tweet somewhere, and I don't know who said it, but it was... the Panthers need a wide receiver 1. Who should they go get? And the quote tweet was DJ Moore.
Go get DJ Moore.
Because he's
perfect. To be fair, they wouldn't have Bryce Young if they still had DJ Moore.
Right. Honestly, at the end of the day, it was probably the right move to go get Bryce Young, because I do think Bryce Young is going to be a good NFL quarterback. And frankly, a good NFL quarterback is worth DJ Moore and whatever else they paid to get him.
If he turns out to be good, whatever you paid was enough. If it was an overpay, no, that was enough.
Yeah. All right. Starts of the week. We've got quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers.
Tight ends, you know who to start. We don't need to go down that road.
Right. I mean, at this point, if you've got Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, Sam Laporta. Am I missing anybody?
Yeah,
TJ Hawkinson.
Yes, you are.
Oh, I love it so much.
Say his name.
If you've got one of those 4 guys, you're good. If you don't, you're not good. That's it. That's as simple as it gets with tight ends.
Yeah, I don't think we need to go any farther than that. You start the top 4. It's crazy that Sam Laporta is in that top 4, but he's legit. So
yep,
go with it.
Oh, there's one other piece of news. Jamison Williams is going. He's back.
That's right.
He's back. He's going to play Sunday. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, Jamison Williams is back. What does it mean?
If nothing else, it's going to open things up for the rest of the Detroit offense.
Yeah.
They finally have... They've been doing a good job with, they have Josh Reynolds and somebody else, I think. They've been doing okay, but, I mean, Jamison Williams is a better field stretcher than anybody. So that's going to open up the middle for Amon-Ra. Should open up running lanes for Montgomery. I want to say Gibbs, but he's got to get more than 3 touches before I say that. But I think it's good for the offense as a whole. I'm not selling out to get Jamison Williams yet.
No.
I want to see it first. And he's one of those, I'm kind of willing to miss on him. Also, but yeah.
I view Jamison Williams as better for the Detroit Lions offense in real life football than he is a fantasy asset. I don't know if you're ever going to want to start him. I could be wrong. I did not feel super convinced that Devon Achane was going to be incredible. I had him ranked high, but I wasn't. That was one of those, I'm going out on a limb here. I don't know how I feel about it.
He was one of everything said he's not supposed to be.
Right. All the measurables, everything that we look at that says, here's what's going to make a great fantasy running back. Devon Achane was none of those things except the fact that he was explosive. Apparently that's all it took.
Yeah. In that Miami offense. That's all you need.
Yeah. All right, starts of the week. Give us your quarterback start of the week.
Well, I would like to say Justin Fields because I just watched him throw a dart to DJ Moore for a touchdown. Opening drive. But that game is happening now. So when you're hearing this, you won't know. I'm going to go with Matthew Stafford.
Hey,
It's
whoa.
Cooper
wow.
Kupp is coming back. Puka Nacua. All the weapons are there for the Rams. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. The Eagles actually, fun fact, as it sits, have given up the sixth most passing yards.
Wow.
And Matthew Stafford is throwing for like 300 yards a game.
Yes.
So in a shootout, what I hope is a really good game, I think you definitely start Matthew Stafford, especially with Cooper Kupp. He hasn't thrown a ton of touchdowns, but, I mean, guess what? He hasn't had his best receiver. So now that he's got him back, fired up.
That's a sneaky good one. I don't know that a lot of people are going to want to start Matthew Stafford this week, but that's
you
a
may
sneaky
not want
good one.
to, but if Kupp is going, I'm starting him in one league because I have to, because I'm starting him over
Yeah.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel good, but I am. But if Kupp is playing, that's going to feel really good.
Honestly, even if Kupp isn't playing, I wouldn't feel bad about it.
No,
I'll be
I
totally
do
honest with
think
you.
he's going to throw all over the field on the Eagles.
Yeah. The one thing with the Eagles is their secondary has not been great this year.
Like I said,
everything else about that team is awesome.
They've given up
but
the sixth most passing yards this season.
Jeez. Yeah, we'll see. Mine is going to be Jordan Love versus
Boo.
Vegas. This is mostly because of Vegas, because they are garbage. But I will say this. Jordan Love has been one of the surprises in fantasy football this year. I mean,
He's not bad.
he's not been bad. And honestly, he's been a top 5 quarterback, which feels bad. He's the quarterback 3 in fantasy football right now. It is basically due to touchdowns. He has thrown, what are we at, 8 touchdowns so far in 4 games. That will help. That will do it for you. He's also got a couple rushing touchdowns. So 10 total touchdowns in 4 games. That helps.
Who's ahead of him? I mean, I'm imagining it's got to be Josh Allen and Herbert, maybe?
That's it. That's the list.
Wow.
Doesn't that feel crazy?
That is strange. I mean, it doesn't feel crazy that Allen and Herbert are 1 and 2. That feels normal. And then there's a list of about 4 guys I would expect to be 3.
Yeah.
I would say I wouldn't be surprised if, obviously, Mahomes, maybe Lamar Jackson. I know Burrow's been playing bad, but preseason, if he'd thrown 10 touchdowns by this point, wouldn't be surprised. Justin Fields, maybe. No.
Yeah.
None of them.
Yeah. Here in 5-point scoring, this is Jordan Love's weekly outputs. The QB3, QB16, QB6, and QB12. Obviously, the touchdowns are probably going to dial back a little bit. But I will say this. I mean, he has a good group of young wide receivers. The schedule thus far has been pretty lax. I mean, it was Chicago, Atlanta, New Orleans, Detroit. That's not a murderer's row, let's put it that way. And Vegas, again, not the worst. Or not the best, sorry. So, I don't know. I feel like Jordan Love is that one quarterback that, nobody really wants to start because it just doesn't quite feel right. But I feel like at this point, after 4 straight weeks of good production and in a plus matchup, I think you can fire up Jordan Love and feel okay about it.
Yeah.
I'm starting Jordan Love over Trevor Lawrence again.
Wow.
And it feels
wrong.
It feels so bad. But I picked him up.
Sinful.
Yeah. I picked him up and he outscored in a game in which they got molested by Detroit. He still finished with more fantasy points than Trevor Lawrence. He played like dog crap. He threw 2 picks. But he had a rushing touchdown, a passing touchdown, 250 yards. Ended up with 18.5 points. It was more than Trevor Lawrence. So, I don't know. If he can go out there and play terrible and still produce for fantasy, I'm in. That's great. It's like Jalen Hurts a couple of years ago. So, I'll take it.
Fair enough.
Running backs.
Running backs. You're going to love this one. And I know you love it because I got the doc before you did.
Yeah, you did.
I am firing up Breece Hall this week.
Whoa!
And it is simply because of what Robert Saleh said, that Breece is going to come out here. He is fully no longer on a snap count. nothing holding him back, full workload approved, ready to go. And the fact that the Jets didn't look half bad against a really good Chiefs defense.
They didn't, and probably a lot of this is Zach Wilson going to be not horrible? Because that's literally all he has
I'm
to
not
be.
buying
Not
it yet,
terrible.
but had his best game in his career up against the Chiefs in prime time.
Yeah. He didn't even need to be that good, and I would still feel okay about Breece Hall. And again, the Chiefs are a really good defense, too. So it's like I was not starting him last week at all, but now it's Denver. And Justin Fields was, what was he, 12 for 12 for
Justin
3 tutties
Fields
at one
was
point?
12 for 12 for 300 yards, or no, 3 touchdowns at halftime against them. Miami dropped 70 on them the week before. They've given up 98 points in 2 weeks.
Let's put it this way.
98.
If it's not going to happen this week, it might not be happening.
Yeah, that's fair. If Breece Hall doesn't do anything this week, then I'm hitting the panic button. I'm very concerned.
What does he have to do for you not to hit the panic button?
I don't know. He's got to I would hope for 12, 15 fantasy points. But
Okay.
12, 15 fantasy points, and it's not like he had a 10-yard rushing touchdown and that was it. I want to see some consistent production. He gets the ball 15 times, maybe catches 2 or 3 passes, has 80 yards and a touchdown.
He has averaged 6.5 a carry so far this year. So, I mean, he's going to be good, I think, in terms of, if you just give him the workload, I can absolutely see Breece Hall being good on a bad team. The problem is if Zach Wilson sort of reverts to being like when they played the Cowboys, and it just didn't matter. Breece Hall could have been the second coming of LaDainian Tomlinson. It would not have mattered because that offense was that bad that night. So you just hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have in that one main league. This is the first week I'm risking it for the biscuit. I'm starting Breece Hall, and I just hope that I haven't made a massive mistake.
You're also
starting
sitting
him
at
over Michael
4-0,
Pittman.
so if you take an L this week, you'll live.
Yeah, I just don't want to. I just don't want to lose. I'm like, okay, I'm in my magic little bubble right now. I'm 4-0, and I don't want it to stop. It's been so
I
nice.
went 13-0 last year in that league.
And
Lost.
Yeah.
Undefeated.
Yeah.
And not close undefeated, it was just a runaway, undefeated.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't need to know that. My confidence was already slim.
Listen, this league has left me with emotional scars. So if you think I'm gonna let you sit here and be like, "Oh, it's okay. Yeah, you're doing great, buddy. Good job." No, this league torments me, and I want the same to happen to you.
So, anyways, I'm starting Breece Hall this week. Somebody pray for me. All right, my running back start of the week. This will make your heart happy. It's DeAndre Swift versus the Rams.
I'm so happy.
The Rams are not a great start for running backs
No, they're really
so
not.
far this year. They're really not. It's not an amazing matchup. But what this is I have a feeling the Eagles are going to have to score points, and DeAndre Swift has looked miles better than every other running back in that backfield.
He's
Probably going to have... Yeah, he really has. He's probably going to have 80-plus rushing yards, and if he scores, it's a win. But, I can't really see a scenario where he has less than, 7 fantasy points this week. Obviously, if he's the start of the week, we think he's probably going to have, 15 to 20. I can see 15 to 20 very easily happening, honestly, every single week. But definitely in a matchup like this where I feel like the Eagles are going to have to score points, when there's touchdown upside like this, I think Swift is probably going to score. If he does anything in passing game, it's a plus because he's been really dominating on the ground thus far, which is pretty wild to see.
Yeah.
So, yeah, DeAndre Swift, top 10 running back this week. Feels pretty wild, but honestly, he's probably top 8 for me this week.
Yeah, I agree with it, and I'm happy to hear you say it. It makes my heart happy to hear that.
I got to call a spade a spade. He's been good.
Yeah.
The jig is up.
All right, wide receivers.
Hit me with him.
Mine, it's It's a cop out because I put two names here, but they're on the same team. I'm going to go Christian Kirk / Calvin Ridley. And there's reasoning behind it. The Bills defense is very good. I'm not going to argue with you there.
Yep.
They did lose Tre'Davious White to an Achilles injury. Really sucks for Tre'Davious White. I was sad to see that because he just came back from the ACL.
Yeah.
So it's really going to be tough for him to come back now from that. So, you lose your top cornerback. And the Jaguars have been in London since last week. They've stayed the whole time. The Bills have to travel over there, get over the jet lag, everything. They're coming off a huge emotional win against the Dolphins. I feel like this is a good time for Jacksonville to really catch them off guard and hit them in the mouth early. I'm gonna say you fire up both Kirk and Ridley.
Interesting. Who of those two do you think is going to have a bigger game?
With no White, I'm gonna say Ridley. I think. The volume has been consistent with him. He's been getting 7-8 targets a week. He got, I think, 12 targets in week 1. Last week, I'm going to kind of write off as an anomaly. The Falcons, it was an ugly game, but they really were kind of just dominating the whole way. And the Falcons were taking, were intentionally trying to take Ridley out of the game. So I think I'd prefer him. We'll see what happens with Zay Jones. Zay Jones is the key for Kirk to me. If Zay Jones isn't playing, I think you lock him in. Because if Zay Jones is playing, that's when you relegate Kirk to just the slot role.
Right. Yeah. And even, he's had a couple good games just playing the slot. I think, what was it, 2 weeks ago, he had like 14 targets and 100 yards, basically just being the slot guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't hate it. My start of the week is also because of another team's injury. It is Chris Olave against the New England Patriots. And a lot of it.
Olave as a top 10 receiver.
I know. But hear me out. Chris Olave has slightly underperformed. Through the first 3 weeks, he was the wide receiver 12. So he really hadn't underperformed. But then Derek Carr hurt his AC joint.
Right where we had him ranked was like 12.
Exactly. Well, Derek Carr got hurt, and he had a stinker last week, a 1.4 point week.
He shouldn't have been.
Derek Carr should not have been out there. They threw Jameis Winston out there for one play, and he threw a pick. So, they said, Jameis, show us what you got. Nope.
Famous Jameis.
Nope. Come back. Nope. Mistake. So I think, what was I saying? Oh, Matthew Judon for the Patriots is injured. He's out. Christian Gonzalez, their stud rookie corner, is also out. So you've got the Patriots' best corner and best pass rusher are no longer playing. So in my mind, it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback. I feel like Chris Olave is going to have a field day. If they throw out Jameis Winston, great, fire him up. If they throw out a Derek Carr a couple weeks post AC joint injury, great, fire him up. I think Chris Olave is a top 12 play this week. I think he scores. That's the other part. He hasn't scored yet. I think he finally gets in the end zone. I think it happens. I think this is the week. I have a feeling in my bones.
I'm fine with it.
But that's all fantasy football is, right? It's just feelings and intuitions.
Yep.
And process.
Herbert just took a pass run like 30 yards.
Oh, good for him. Where's Roschon Johnson? Didn't everybody tell me Roschon Johnson was supposed to be the back to own there?
Roschon Johnson.
It ain't it.
Bears are gashing the Commanders right now. Passing game and running game. Feels about to throw another touchdown. Watch this.
I really thought the Bears were trying to tank for Caleb Williams. I thought that's what was supposed to be happening here.
That's what I would be doing. I would send. This is what I would do if I'm the Bears. I would send Justin Fields for Kyle Pitts, and then go get Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison.
Well, the problem is, what the Panthers are going to do is the Panthers don't have their first round pick, so they're like, we're not going to give the Bears a good pick. We're going to go get a receiver, pay way too much for him.
They got to prove to me that they can win first. They're 0-4.
Yeah, but if they had, I truly think if they had a legit wide receiver out there, even a Marquise Brown, I know he's not like a.
Also, if you traded for Kyle Pitts, you really need Marvin Harrison. You got Kyle Pitts and DJ Moore.
Gosh, It's true. And honestly, at that point, you're not going to finish last in the NFL. You're just not. Kyle Pitts and DJ Moore, that's enough. Justin Fields can be okay.
No. You traded Fields to get Kyle Pitts.
Who's their backup quarterback? What is it, like Tim Boyle? They would be terrible. They would be so bad. Anything else? Or are we hopping out of here? All right, let's go watch some football. Appreciate you, everybody, for listening. Once again, leave us a rating and review wherever you're listening to the show. We'll see you next week when we're reacting to Week 5 and all the craziness that comes along with it. Hopefully, all your teams perform admirably. Get some wins. See y'all.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Brothers podcast. If you enjoyed the episode and want to connect to us, follow us on Instagram at @FantasyBrothers_ or on Twitter at @FantasyBros_. If you want to support the show, you can do that at Patreon /Fantasy Brothers.